Welcome to the New to Crypto podcast, designed to guide you through the crypto landscape with pinpoint accuracy, created for the new and intermediate crypto investor. Join your host, Crypto Travels Michael, as he takes you through the different facets of getting started and succeeding in your crypto journey. New to Crypto podcast brings you new episodes daily, Monday through Friday, with surprise bonus episodes sometimes on the weekend. Let me ask you, are you new to crypto? Don't know where to start? Are you more experienced but have questions? Then you're in the right place. This podcast is designed for you. Coming at you from the Trading Center in the Lifestyle Design Studio, here's your host, Crypto Travels Michael.
Hey, welcome to today's podcast. I'm excited about this episode. I have a special guest today, and I'd like to introduce you to. He has a background in financial modeling, capital markets, fixed income, and equities. And basically, he is the founder of something called Covey, which is on a mission to empower everyone to create wealth. I have Brooker Belcourt here today. And in 2020, he actually founded Covey, and we're going to jump in today. So, hey, Brooker, it's a pleasure to have you here.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, before we dive in, can you just share with our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So now I'm the founder of Covey. Been doing that for a couple of years. Before that, I was at hedge funds as an analyst for about 7 years. So investing in technology stocks, long and short, at Citadel most recently. Before that, a Tiger Cub. Before that, Coatue. And prior to hedge funds, I was at Goldman Sachs doing investment banking, covering the fintech space when it was really early days.
Interesting. Well, what is Covey? Before we dive in and get into all the details, can you just give our listeners just an overview?
Sure. So the problem that we saw was, if you're an amazing investment analyst, an amazing stock picker, the chance of you being discovered on Twitter is almost zero, right? You can raise your hands, you can share all you want on Twitter. People may not trust you, and even if they do, you have no way of rising to the top. There's no leaderboard or anything. And that seems like a disservice to everyone. A disservice to that potential analyst who could become a manager, a disservice to all of us as investors who would want to put our money behind this analyst and generate more wealth. And so we looked at sports and we saw, if you're a great basketball player, you're going to get found. If you're a great baseball player, you're going to get found. There's infrastructure set up to find you. They have scouts all over the world. They have different leagues that you can rise up through. And I was always wondering, why doesn't that exist for investment analysts? We need an infrastructure to find the next great investment analysts. And that's what Covey is. We find and reward the best investment analysts so that anyone can copy them and generate more wealth.
Okay, great. Let's get into some of the details about Covey then. So, Brooker, how exactly does it work?
Yes, so Covey's free for everyone. You can join and you go to covey.io, you join and you create a portfolio, a virtual portfolio of equities, ETFs, and cryptocurrencies. So you put in a trade like going long Ethereum, 10%, long Facebook, 10%. You can even go short in different percentages. And then we place that trade for you. And then it's all virtual and we start tracking your portfolio. So we track like 50 metrics every 5 minutes. So you get this crazy hedge fund level data that you can share with anyone. And the cool part is once you place a trade, you're in the monthly competition and you show up on the leaderboard. You see where you stack up next to everyone else. You can see how good you are, how bad you are, and what the best people are invested in. And then at the end of the month, we pay out rewards to the best people on the leaderboard.
Okay, excellent. So you mentioned one of the benefits for investors. What are some of the other benefits for investors besides having access to analysts? So, for example, if you or I trade on there, other people can follow our trades, correct? So that's a benefit for investors. What are some other benefits on the Covey platform?
Yeah, so there's two sides that we serve. So there's these analysts who are really passionate about investing. They're competitive. They want to show how great they are. They want to credentialize themselves. And so they use Covey to launch their career in investing because they can share their portfolio to get a job at a hedge fund. They can share their portfolio to potentially launch a fund. And they can do all that without hiring an auditor because we actually record all the trades on a blockchain. So you have this like immutable track record that's even more powerful than if you show someone your Fidelity account. And so that all that stuff is provided for free, and that's great for the analysts. Now, on the other side, there's the investor, right? The person who's maybe not as passionate about creating a portfolio, but wants to benefit from the ideas of others. And so right now, we're building products for them. If you go to Covey now, you can check out different analysts. You can see what the top 1% of people on Covey, what they're invested in, what their portfolio looks like. Make sure you've got some good idea alignment with them. It's a really cool topic to talk about, like what they're holding right now. It's so cool to see how these people just do so well over long periods of time. And so what we'll be launching in 2023 is a way to invest real dollars into the top 1% of analysts through an app so that you can get access to those amazing ideas without having to constantly check out Covey and match those trades in your Fidelity or E-Trade or Robinhood account, which is what people are having to do now. So we'd love to make that a little bit easier for everyone.
Fantastic. Brooker, is there anything else like Covey, or it seems that there was a void or something lacking in the industry, and you basically created a solution for it?
There's definitely been companies that have tried to get into this space before and tried to come up with a solution. I think a lot of people have the idea that we should be sharing real track records when we talk on FinTwit, or real portfolios when we talk on FinTwit. That's a pretty obvious problem. And people are trying to come up with solutions to that, like public.com or common stock. I think what makes me really excited is I think there's this undiscovered pool of amazing analysts out there that are sitting in Reddit, sitting in FinTwit, and we've only just begun to learn about them. And the trouble is we have no way to sort through the noise. There's probably millions of people who love investing and love chatting stocks, but how do we go in there and find the top 100, the top 1%? And that's really what Covey seeks to do, is find the best and elevate them so that we can all benefit by investing behind them.
Okay. I know. I really like where you've gone with that, the idea and elevating them. I know you have a token coming, yeah?
Yeah.
Can you share with our listeners a little bit about that and the utility of it?
Yeah, so definitely on this podcast for a reason. I am crazy passionate about crypto. When you use Covey, you really don't need to know that much about blockchain to be able to interact. We walk you through like the very, very basic steps. You don't need any crypto to interact with Covey. We supply all the gas for you. But there is some really cool stuff that we do behind the scenes. And generally, we don't talk about it so much, but because this is a crypto podcast, I'd love to explore that because it solved a lot of problems for us, right? We wanted to reward anyone, anywhere in the world in some way. We thought about using the banking rails to do that, paying them in US dollars. We talked to vendors like Plaid and said, how do we pay someone in New Zealand at the same time as paying someone in Portugal, at the same time as paying someone in US? And that was just impossible. So we decided, well, let's collect everyone's Ethereum address and reward them tokens to their Ethereum address within seconds at the end of the month. So that solved that problem, right? We pay our rewards out to people's Ethereum address, so anyone anywhere in the world can receive it. And then the next problem we had is some of our analysts wanted to build a fund off of this, and they were trying to get auditors to review their track record. If you go to hire a KPMG or a Deloitte to review your track record to make it auditable so that other investors would put money behind you, that's going to cost you thousands of dollars. And so we wanted to solve that. So we said, okay, well, let's just post every single trade that you make at the time you make it to an immutable ledger so that we can all see that these trades happened exactly when they said they would. And we have immutable proof that you were long oil and gas stocks in the beginning of 2022 and you made a killing. And you can't mess with the blockchain. It's immutable. And so that solved another problem. And you mentioned we're launching a token. There's a whole thing about what that solves for us. I'm so excited about that. We can get into it, but I'll pause there for a second because we just covered a ton.
Hey, that was really awesome to hear. I have a friend who just paid $100,000 US to one of the big firms to do an audit for him. So and the fact that you're making this, you've built your platform in a way to help the analysts to show the immutable proof. That's awesome. Yeah.
To launch, I tried with a partner to launch a hedge fund in 2015. We were seeded by a famous investor at Tiger Management, who's unfortunately just passed away this past month. But they seeded us and we launched the fund, and it cost $300,000 to create a hedge fund. And unfortunately, that fund failed, but that money's just gone. And it's like, not everyone can go out there and drop $300,000 to create a fund. So how do we bring that cost to zero? In the early days of when you launched a website, it used to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to get a website off the ground. Now it's free. You can do it with Shopify for like under $100. And that's what we hope to give anyone the ability to raise a fund based purely on their talent. And I don't care about anything else.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, these days you can watch a YouTube video, learn WordPress, get a domain, build out your own WordPress and be operational. So what are some other gems you can share with our listeners about we have a wealth of experience in the hedge fund industry, what anything you feel led to share? We're all ears.
Oh, I had a great experience there. I think one thing that was what I really liked at Citadel, which has a very negative reputation in the world. He was kind of the villain. Ken Griffith was the villain in the whole Reddit Wall Street Bets saga, which ended with him buying out the Constitution over a DAO that was created to buy the Constitution, which was, I don't know if you did an episode on that, but that was an amazing story. And what I did like working at Citadel, though, is it was the closest thing to this idea of a transparent meritocracy that I had ever seen. If you're an analyst there or a portfolio manager there, you enter in all your ideas into a software very similar to Covey, and you are evaluated on the performance of that portfolio of ideas every month, every year. And it is purely based on how well your ideas are doing and not politicking and not how good your PowerPoint presentation was on your Facebook pitch. And that part I loved. And you would see every year they would clean out the bottom 10% and they would allocate more funds to the top 10%. And they kept doing that. And it can create like a really, really tough culture. And so you have to figure out a way to make a nice culture out of that. But I love the idea of making something like purely based on merit. And I think a lot of the users on Covey also love that idea that it really should be on merit. And the cool thing about Covey is if you're great, that's amazing. You rise to the top, you get noticed, you can share it all. But if you're not great, you also get to see who's great and you get to invest in them. So you do have some benefit as well if you're not in the top analysts on Covey.
Tell us about some more details about the token. You alluded to some info earlier, and I know it's a big month for you guys at Covey. And, what can you share with us?
Yeah, we're so excited about that. We've been wanting to launch this token for a very long time. Ever since we started Covey, the plan was to do this. But it takes time to build all the pieces and get a community big enough that that understands why we have a token. So we're launching this token. Essentially, what it is trying to do is a lot of our analysts are really smart and they understand the data they contribute to Covey. These ideas are very valuable. And if they're going to contribute these ideas in the future, they should be rewarded in some way or share in some way the value that they have created by adding these ideas to the community. And so at a high level, what we're trying to do with these tokens is give back the majority of the value created in this community to the analysts that created it. And so almost taking data and exchanging tokens. That's a high level what we're trying to do. How we figured out how to do that is to create a token that has a few types of utility for the analysts. So the first utility is governance. It allows analysts to control how future rewards are paid out on Covey. So how rewards are paid out, that's kind of like our bread and butter. It's how the community determines who the best analyst is. We call it the alpha algorithm. It's really cool. We chat a lot about that on our Discord. So there's governance. The second thing it adds for is staking. What we're finding is that because Covey is open to anyone, there's a ton of people who create accounts. We don't know if you're creating one account or you're creating 100 accounts. And so what we want is you to take Covey tokens and then stake them to the account that you want us to focus on. And so the staking can influence your rewards. So it can boost up your rewards or push them down a little bit, depending on how much you stake. So that clears away spam, makes our community much more valuable. And then the third part, which is really cool, is any products built on the Covey community, we're going to offer token holders a discount on the fees for those products. So when we launch, for instance, the copy trading product in 2023, allowing anyone to invest in the top 1%, if you hold a certain amount of tokens, you will get a discount on the 1% fee that we would charge. Similar to how if you go to Binance or go to FTX, if you hold those tokens, you get a discount on the trading fees on those exchanges.
Fantastic. I actually created an account myself, so you guys will see me in there. Regarding your token,
yeah, are you how high are you on the leaderboard this month?
No, I've had some health issues. I'm not on the leaderboard. I need to spend some more wrench time in there. Regarding the tokenomics, there's the most that ever will be minted are 1 million tokens, and at the launch are you gonna mint 300,000 of them? Is that around there?
Yeah. So basically, we got 1 million going out. Mm-hmm. 300,000 will be given to the equity holders of Covey, so the people who created this, and then 700,000 are going out to the community, and about 100,000 of those will be in grants to help grow the community, building some cool products around the community, and then the core of it, the 600,000 tokens, will basically be payouts every single month. So we pay out 2,500 tokens every single month. And so that gives us about 20 years of runway to pay out. And then over time, what we'll see is that the staking, like after the 20 years, the staking and burning will start taking over the future supply of tokens to be paid out in the in the years out.
Okay.
You follow that part?
Absolutely. And I see you chose to release this on Ethereum. Share with us a little bit of details about that.
Yeah, it was something we thought about a lot. We really had hoped in the beginning to do the whole thing on Ethereum. Love that ecosystem. We find there's so many developers working on it, so you can hire developers that understand Solidity. There's a lot of tools out there, a lot of like bug solves for Solidity problems. So there's a huge network effect with Ethereum that we found.
Absolutely.
And so we're definitely riding that. And then what we experienced early on is like the cost to post a trade when we first launched Covey was 10 cents, and it's something that we could deal with when you compared with the cost to audit a track record being thousands of dollars. 10 cents to create an immutable trade didn't seem so crazy. But now the price is significantly higher. And so we've switched to Polygon. And so we use Polygon to post all our trades, and hopefully we'll be able to stick with Ethereum to pay out the token rewards, which is what we've been doing so far, is you receive your token rewards to your Ethereum address on the Ethereum blockchain.
Very good. Yeah, the Ethereum community is huge, and there's a lot of devs in it. We actually just released an episode with John Poller, the founder of ETH Denver. So yeah, he was talking about all the, how large that community or counterculture, I guess you would say now, has truly grown. So
it's a very powerful advantage once you have that, because you create the amount of content that's created around that. Like when you have a problem in Ethereum and you're trying to solve it, say you're trying to issue a smart contract for some particular use case, having more of a community to reach out to solve that problem makes it way more compelling, and a big reason why.
And someone's probably encountered that problem before. You know, they might have some great insight on how to solve it. You know, it's like the old story of riding a bike. You know, why reinvent the wheel when someone's already done it? So, Brooker, you shared a little bit in the very beginning about when you got started with Covey, but is there an origin story that you can share with our listeners about how this whole thing actually got started, or was it just out of need, or, you know, paint us that picture for our listeners?
There is a bit of an origin story. So I left Citadel and I started investing in crypto in 2019. And I started downloading the entire Ethereum blockchain and seeing all the different flows of Ethereum from exchanges. So I downloaded the entire blockchain. I started to transfer Ethereum to different exchanges. So I started to tag exchange addresses. And I wrote articles on Medium about this, and they're still out there. That's the originations of Covey. You can read them. And so I started to watch the flow, and then I found that the flow was like quite predictive of the future price of Ethereum. It doesn't really work much anymore, but there was a time when it worked very well. And so I was trading in and out of Ethereum based on the Ethereum moving in and out of exchanges. So if there was a ton of ETH flowing into exchanges, that would be a sell signal, right? Because people would probably take that ETH to an exchange to sell it. So it's almost like it could predict the future price over a 24-hour period. And it was working really well. And I started to make money. And I was like, this is amazing, but no one's ever going to find me. I don't understand. Like, no one believes me that this is working. So I was like, why don't I just post all my ideas to Ethereum itself, to the blockchain? And then at least I'll have proof so that I could raise a fund on this strategy. And so I was like, well, I also want to show hedge fund level metrics so you can really evaluate my strategy. And so I built an early iteration of Covey to do just that. And then other people saw value in it, and the strategy stopped working, and I saw like way more interest in this idea of, hey, let's build a place that we can all rank each other and rank our strategies and have an immutable track record that we can do anything with, right? Get a job, launch a fund, build an app. And that became so much more interesting. So I built it for myself. I'm still a huge user of Covey. You'll see me on the leaderboard. I'm not in the top 10% right now, but hopefully soon, someday. So I'm just a power user.
Awesome. I love the entrepreneur mindset and you know, the story of how it got started. That's exciting where you are now, getting ready to launch the token. And I wanted to ask you about the roadmap and things to come in 2022, well, for the rest of this year and beyond. I know you touched a little bit about something coming, next year for analysts and traders. And but what would you like to share with the things to come and the roadmap for Covey?
Yeah, there's a lot happening right now. We've got September 30th. We will airdrop the tokens that people have been rewarded for the last few months.
Nice.
And so then going forward, when you compete in October, at the end of the month, you will receive to your Ethereum wallet Covey tokens. So that'll happen, and that'll start building liquidity for Covey tokens. More and more wallets will start having them. And then in Q1, so sometime between January and March 2023, we will introduce staking. And so we first need to get all these tokens out there, and then we'll introduce staking. So you can buy tokens or earn tokens and stake them to your account to increase your rewards. And that will also reduce spam on Covey. That's going to be amazing. And then in the summer or so in 2023 is when we'll have the copy trading app, which I'm excited about. Our investors in Covey and the VC investors in Covey are so excited about. That's going to allow anyone to deposit $1,000, $10,000, and invest in the top analysts coming out of this community. And so that, like, if you look at the top analysts coming out of our community in 2022, they're up about 20%. When the market's down, these people kill it. They are doing amazing. That's worth like a whole conversation. When you look at our database and you say, hey, show me the top 1% of analysts in August, and I want to invest in their portfolio on September 1st, you will outperform the market. And this phenomenon is called performance persistence. We've seen it in our data. It's been studied academically, and will be one of the first products that gives analysts or gives investors access to this amazing phenomenon that, like, we should have had for years before. We should have had a ranking system. It would be like allowing you to invest in LeBron James in high school. Like, he's going to do well. You should. If there was a way to do that, that would be amazing. And with investing, there is a way, and that's Covey.
That's exciting. Wow. I'm looking forward to Q1 of next year and next summer. This podcast is called New to Crypto. So we have people who are new, and we also have very experienced crypto investors who want to know about a specific topic. Your token that you're going to roll out will, I know some of our listeners may be thinking, what can they do with that token? Can they swap that token later for like a stable coin? Do they sell it back? Do they just keep it in your platform? Like, can you break down for someone who might be new about how they can get in and out of your token?
Yeah. So for the period like right now until year end 2022, so for the next 3 or 4 months, you will only be able to earn the token. So you have to be a good analyst to get these tokens. Okay. And so we're in this like super exclusive period where the tokens are going out to really smart individuals, and you cannot get it any other way. And that's awesome. Like, it's so cool to be on this podcast talking about it, giving people an access. And you just can't buy it. You have to earn it. You have to be great. And I love that idea. And then as we distribute it more to more and more people, we will start creating liquidity options so that you can get access to these tokens. Because come January, to be able to compete in the monthly competition, you will have to stake some Covey tokens. So right now you don't have to stake, but in come Q1, you will have to stake. And so we'll have to give people a way to buy these tokens, and then you'll see liquidity start. And so the tokens, the use case for this interim period is it's credentializes you. You can show that you've got a ton of tokens, which means you're one of the best analysts on Covey of hundreds of analysts competing monthly. So I think that's really cool. And then it's you get to participate in the upside of this community. And so that's also really exciting. So we're in like a rare time where where the tokens are kind of easy to get because there's going to be probably less users now than there will be in the future.
Awesome. Well, that brings me to how can our listeners reach you and join the community and stay in the conversation?
Yeah, we'd love to have you join. We're on Covey.io, Covey.io. Everything's there. You can join us on Discord. We're on there talking about how to distribute tokens, how to create staking. We're talking about a lot of things crypto. We're talking about markets too. So there's a lot of conversations there. And on Covey.io, there's all our socials. So you can see our Medium articles, even the stuff that I wrote going way back about betting on exchange flows. And you'll see our Twitter feed there as well.
Nice. We'll have all those links on the episode blog post page to your site and your socials as well. So make it easy for people to jump in and join the community, and you mentioned Discord, so you have moderators on there and they can even reach out to you or see what you have to say in there. Yeah.
Yeah. You'll see us on there. You'll see Brooker and Sarah and John and Carlson. Our team is all on there, and we're actively fielding questions and we love our community. So it's really fun to chat.
Awesome. Brooker, is there anything else you would like to share with our listeners?
No, we look forward to seeing you in the community, and I hope we can get Michael on there to share his portfolio,
yes.
And you can compete with Michael and I and see who's the best analyst of us all. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you all on the leaderboard.
Absolutely. Hey, well, it was a pleasure to have you drop by today and share this insight with us.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you. Hey, if you like today's episode, definitely like and subscribe to the podcast and show your support, and chime in here tomorrow for another special episode. Until then, make it a great day.
Thanks for tuning in to New to Crypto Podcast. If you like the episode, be sure to follow and subscribe. You can listen to every episode on all major platforms. Have an interest in being on the show or want advertising? Reach out at newtocrypto.io. Head over to our site, newtocrypto.io, to access the resources mentioned in each episode. Until next time, remember to navigate the crypto landscape with pinpoint accuracy.